Jellyfish-like creatures that spit out waste found on Texas beaches. Some Texas beachgoers are having to compete for sand space with an intriguing blue creature. But it's not one that can simply be shoved out of the way, unless getting stung is on the agenda. Texas Parks and Wildlife said this week that blue buttons have been spotted at Galveston Island State Park. The creatures look like small bright blue jellyfish, but they are actually just a very distant relative. Porpita are a form of hydrozoa, just like jellyfish, but they are not a single creature. According to the Smithsonian Institution, the creatures have a central float with streaming tentacles like typical jellyfish, but they are actually just a colony of many small hydroid animals. Some of those colonies reside in the jelly blob-like float, while others reside in its tentacles. But they do have one distinctly painful commonality with jellyfish, the institute said. The tentacles have stinging nematocysts in those white tips, so do not touch. According to NOAA, nematocysts are cell capsules that have a thread that's coiled around a stinging barb. That barb and thread are kept in the cell and under pressure until the cell is stimulated, at which point a piece of tissue that covers the nematocyst cell opens and allows the barb to shoot out and stick to whatever agitated it, injecting a poisonous liquid. Blue buttons aren't deadly to humans, but their sting can cause skin irritation. While the creatures washing up on Texas shores are bright blue, local environmental conservation organization Texas Master Naturalists said that isn't always the case. Sometimes they can appear to be turquoise or even yellow, the group said. Blue buttons are commonly found on shores that blanket the Gulf of Mexico, usually in the summer, they added, and are drawn to shorelines by plankton blooms, which is their source of food. They don't swim, they float, the organization said, adding a more grotesque fact about the creatures: its mouth also releases its waste. Many people have commented on the Texas Parks and Wildlife's Facebook warning, saying they have seen the animals along the shores. They look beautiful, one person said. But usually, when I see something like that, I panic by moving far away from it. Saw quite a few in the sand today at the Pocket Park on the West End, another said, as a third person described them as beautiful and wicked. Soccer star Megan Rapinoe to retire after 2023 season. Luis Sanchez, Mexico finds murdered journalist's body in Nayarit. The body of a correspondent for one of Mexico's leading newspapers has been found in the western state of Nayarit, days after he was reported missing. Luis Martín Sánchez Iñiguez, 59, worked for La Jornada and had been missing since Wednesday. His death is being treated as murder linked to his work, in one of the most dangerous countries for journalists. Mr. Sanchez is one of 3 journalists to have been abducted in the state in recent days. His body was found on Saturday in the village of El Ahuacate near the city of Tepic, the public prosecutor's office said, a day after his wife filed a missing persons report. 2 messages were attached to his chest, but the authorities have not revealed what they said. It is thought Mr. Sanchez was killed between 24 and 48 hours before his body was found. His disappearance came a day after a teacher and former reporter went missing on his way to work. The whereabouts of the man, named as Osiris, remain unknown. The third person to go missing was a man named Jonathan, who the authorities said was abducted on Friday but was later found alive and in a good state of health. Mr. Sanchez's death has sparked outrage both in Mexico and internationally. The Mexican Commission for the Defense and Promotion of Human Rights has called for the authorities to clarify what happened. We demand justice for the Mexican journalists, the group wrote on social media. The Americas branch of the Committee to Protect Journalists is among the other rights groups that have also condemned the killing. Mr. Sanchez is not the first journalist to be targeted in Mexico this year. Jose Ramiro Araujo, a news photographer, was killed in the northern state of Baja California in February. La Jornada said at least 4 other people have also been murdered. Press freedom organizations have consistently ranked Mexico as one of the most dangerous countries for journalists to work. Many of those targeted covered corruption or powerful drug cartels, and campaigners say the killings are rarely fully investigated. Nearly 150 journalists have been murdered there since 2000, according to the international advocacy group Reporters Without Borders.